Welcome inside the Burns Arena, home of Dixie State basketball. Excited to be on board this year for Dixie State Women's Basketball Weekly. This the first edition of the show. Carrick Segmiller, the Assistant Coordinator of Media Relations, also radio play-by-play announcer here at Dixie State University, joined by Dixie State Women's Basketball Coach JD Gustin. Coach, I'm excited to be on board for this project that you guys have come up with on your own. I love to see teams working to promote themselves, and this is certainly a great idea. Thank you for inviting me to be on board for this project.
Well, thank you for doing it, Carrick. Just an idea that we have, and we're just fortunate to have someone as talented as you helping us out. So
I'm not so sure about that talented, but I'm excited to be on board for this project. Now, what we're going to do week by week, we'll have Coach Gustin on most weeks. We'll get to know some of the assistant coaches as well, and then as the season gets going, we'll have a player on each week as well. So not only do you get the weekly update, but you get a profile look at each of the members of the Dixie State women's basketball team. This week's edition, obviously, a season preview. The regular season just a couple of weeks away, looming on the horizon. So, Coach, let's break things down, and let's start. I always like to start kind of with a quick look back, maybe not necessarily at deep in look, an in-depth look at last season, but into the off season. And let's talk about this year's recruiting class. You go out and you bring in 5 really talented freshmen. You bring in a Division II transfer from BYU Hawaii, and you bring in a junior college transfer from Utah State Eastern. Just talk about this year's recruiting class, really your first true recruiting class with this team.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, Carrick. To win 5 games and have the tough year that we did, and then to be able to bring in arguably the best recruiting class that Dixie State's had in its D2 history. We're thrilled about it. Our 5 freshmen, not only are they talented, fantastic people, and they're winners. They all won their region title. I don't know their combined record as seniors, but it's really good.
Real good.
And then the addition of Kristen is a big deal. She was an all-league player in this league last year, and she's gotten better and starting to get comfortable. She's going to be a big piece for us. And then Miley also was a fantastic sign for us. Another local Utah kid that's just gotten so much better in her time at junior college, and is gonna play a significant role for us. So super excited about our class.
Of course, we can talk a lot about the new players that are joining the squad this year, but you bring back 5 really talented players from last year as well. Let's talk about those players. You've got Tremina Jordan and Ashley Burge, Gabby Cabanero, Maddie Ventling, Lisa Van Kampen, all players that were integral parts of what we were able to do last year. So let's talk about what they bring to the table and how big of a part they'll play in this year's team.
Well, I'm excited about that group that we have coming back, because now they understand what we're trying to do, the expectations that we have, the culture that we're trying to build. They understand the importance of leadership, and we had very little leadership last year, and starting with me, so I'm not picking on them, but and so Lisa's going to redshirt, and she's really had a great summer. She's improved tremendously, so we won't have her, but we're still expecting her to lead. And then the other 4 we're going to ask to contribute significantly. So I think they all had a good summer, and they're excited about it, and we're trying to do something different here, something special, and they get that, and they're helping.
You've got the 6 games that'll count in the win-loss column, plus the exhibition at Utah State before the Pac-West schedule starts that first weekend in December. Obviously, wins and losses. A lot of people will look at that and as a measuring stick. What else are you trying to see through those first 6 games before Pac-West play begins?
Well, we're just trying to find an identity. That's the tough part about starting a program, or not, I should say starting a program, trying to rebuild a program and rebuild a culture. We don't have an identity at all, and so hopefully going to use the preseason to find who and what we are, and establish some ways to do things, and hopefully do them correctly in the way that we want to do them, and then attack this tough league. It's a challenging league. It's full of good players, full of good coaches, and we'll see what we can do against it.
I tell you, I for one, just from what I've seen, am excited about this year's team and excited to be on board to help you guys out with this project. I think it's great. I love, like I said before, I like to see teams helping promote themselves, and then we in the athletic department can piggyback on that and push that along as well. So appreciate you stopping by and sitting down for this conversation for this first Dixie State Women's Basketball Weekly, and we wish you all the best this season. We're excited for it.
Thank you so much. Let's get her going.
Of course, Dixie State Women's Basketball starts the season a couple weeks at Western Oregon. That's November 11th. The Trailblazers will be at home for their home opener on November 17th, hosting Colorado Mesa, Montana State Northern 2 days later, and then the day after Thanksgiving we'll host Westminster. The Pac West home opener will be December 2nd, hosting Academy of Art. This has been the first edition of Dixie State Women's Basketball Weekly. We'll catch you next week.